Welcome to Where's the Nuance with myself, El Niño. In a world of black and white thinking, we're here to introduce a little color and pull back the dogmatic ideologies that stand in the way of truth.
I love science. I just think it's incredibly pretentious and has claimed too much. Its methods are great. Its constipated conservatism is maddening.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
We can fight endlessly on the supposition that there are good guys and bad guys. When we fight on that supposition, there is no possibility of compromise.
Because we all step in shit from time to time. We hit roadblocks, we fuck up, we get fucked, we get sick, we don't get what we want. We cross thousands of could have done betters and wish that wouldn't have happened in life. Stepping in shit is inevitable. So let's either see it as good luck or figure out how to do it less often.
Thank you so much for being here, Star. Welcome to Where's the Nuance with me, El Niño. So for anyone who doesn't know Star Jesse Taylor, he is a mental health coach online. I think he kind of rose to prominence a bit on TikTok, where a lot of his videos blew up, specifically because they are a little bit controversial. He's kind of challenging the medical model and the way that we think about a lot of the mental afflictions like anxiety, depression, and all these other mental disorders. What is your unique approach? Why have you gotten so much traction, and at the same time also a bit of conflict and like pushback online?
Yeah, why do I got so much traction? Probably
Yes.
because I practice things and I don't regurgitate them from books, but I practice them and then I think for myself, and then that a lot of times goes against the grain of society. So that would probably be the answer, because I practically, instead of regurgitating something that therapists learn in school about the brain, I actually changed my brain. I used to have really crazy OCD. I changed my brain. I ADHD. I changed my brain. And this is why it's so easy for me to explain it to other people, because it's like a professional tennis player who played tennis all the time instead of just reading books about tennis. Yeah, and I just like teach people what helps me. Like I literally, it's like me learning how to open a refrigerator, showing people how to open a refrigerator, because I did open a refrigerator so many times, and just teaching it to people. So I guess my approach is not me trying to be confrontational, but it's just me teaching what helps me, and along the way I get like some backlash and all those things, but I'm good with that because I know it works and it helps a lot of people.
Right. Yeah, I can tell you really have like firstly thick skin around it. Like you don't seem to give a shit what other people think, which is a good thing, obviously. And I think you also have a little bit of, I mean, I don't want to assume, but you're a pretty spiritually minded guy, right? You have a lot of like, you don't tend to take things personally. You have your own confidence and inner wisdom in there as well, from what I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, I learned early along that me making my videos, it doesn't help me to prioritize and look at how I look or what people think, because then I cannot focus on giving what I want to give. So when I make videos, it's basically me thinking about what would help the audience the most, what would help the people, and I prioritize that completely. Like I try to communicate my videos in a way that is like a map that brings the audience from like the beginning till the end. And I know they're not as informed about the brain, of course, as I am, because I've been doing this for years in the practice. So I try to meet my audience where they're at in the beginning, and then take them along a ride and make it, if you understand the brain, it's very logical. So if I explain it, people are like, what? Why didn't someone tell me this before? This makes totally sense.
Yeah.
So then I try to take them along the way like a map, and I like all my focus needs to be on translating my videos, communicating my videos as simple as possible. And I cannot do that if at the same time I'm like, oh, what do they think of me? How's my hair looking? What should I? It's just like it's a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. And I think a lot of the success, people would have more success if they would do less, actually. But what they do is the important things. Making videos, communicating, doing things in relationships, is just doing less of the mind chatter and focusing on the important things. And the beginning and probably feels unfamiliar because the old patterns want you to do the old toxic things. But that's why our brain's language is behavior. We are then are okay with the uncomfortable feeling and still doing the things that we value. And over time, we are the bosses of our brain. So we show our brain what we actually care about. And that's what the brain over time learns.
All right. You said that the language of the brain is behavior. Let's say I'm ignorant. What do you mean by that? What do you mean? Because I would say, right, like, let me give you devil's advocate. Isn't the language of my brain language? I think in words and in symbols and whatnot. Isn't that the language of the brain?
You asked, oh, don't you think the language of the brain is language? I can prove you right now that it's not language.
Perfect.
Tell your brain right now that you never want to have an anxiety thought again. You never want to have an emotion of anxiety again. You never want to have a thought of doubt again. Is your brain going to say, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I understand you, Niño. It's totally fine. I'm going to like not give you ever a doubtful thoughts in a relationship or jealousy. Is your brain going to communicate with you that way?
Let me try. I'm never going to doubt myself. No, it hasn't changed. I still have it. Still got it.
Yeah, you would be the first one that I ever met who was like, oh, wow, this guy did it. The brain talked back. It was totally fine. So your brain's language is behavior because it watches what you react to. What I mean with that, a lot of people are like, okay, I have intrusive thoughts. Why do I have intrusive thoughts? It's because you're reacting to those thoughts. They're literally just thoughts, but you talking back, you spending time on them. So the brain's like, oh, you must love this. Your behavior shows me that you're engaging with these thoughts. Your behavior is showing me that you're engaging with this jealousy. Jealousy comes up, you grabbing the phone and you are checking if your boyfriend's cheating on you. And you show me that you love this jealousy because you interacting with it. So I want to support you in fixing this jealousy because you show me that your language is, oh, you love fixing jealousy. Let me give you more jealousy, more thoughts of your boyfriend cheating, more thoughts of this. So your brain's basically going by what you spent your time and energy on.
Okay, so your brain is the impartial observer of your behavior. It doesn't give a shit what comes into the thoughts, but it's just going
like your best friend.
Right. And
it's
it just sees
your best friend. It's like, whatever you do, I'm down for it. I give you all of that. You love fixing anxiety. I give you more anxiety. You love fixing thoughts. I give you more thoughts. You hating on these thoughts. I don't know if you're hating because you're engaging with them. So you love them. You must love those thoughts about your parents dying or whatever. Let me give you more of them. So that's the brain is just trying to help us out.
So you said you said something I want to draw on. You said, so if somebody was to be focusing on, let's say I have generalized anxiety disorder and I'm like, I really want to fix my anxiety disorder. You're saying that that's going to make it worse.
Yeah. Well, if you look at fixing, like I'm trying to get relief from that feeling by distracting myself or by trying to do techniques to get relief and trying to make that feeling feel better, it will definitely make it worse. It will definitely make it worse over time. And I can prove it to you. Let's take an example again, like with the jealousy. Yeah. The more a girl or guy in a relationship does behaviors around trying to make that feeling feel better by trying to check on social media if their boyfriend's doing good, by trying to control their boyfriend or girlfriend, the more anxiety and jealousy comes up over time. So trying to fix the anxiety and jealousy, the brain's just like, you love fixing, you love it. It doesn't understand, hey, this feeling, you don't like it, let's move it to the side. It's fine. We clean it up. It's beautiful. It just looks at your behavior. It just sees, it gives you a feeling of anxiety and you're like, no, I need to do something with it. I need to get rid of it. I need to distract myself with it. I need to do this and that. So the brain's like, oh, you love this thing that I give you. Let me give you more of these things that I give you. I like to give this example of a house. Let's say you're in a house and you have way too many chairs in the house. And you're like, damn, I cannot even walk anymore. I have too many chairs in my house. Let me throw out those chairs out my house right now. And you throw chairs out the house. You throw chairs out the house. Your friends help you throw chairs out the house. And the brain looks at this on the side and is not like, oh, let me help him throw chairs out the house. Your brain's like, oh, she or he, they love throwing chairs out the house. Soon they're running out of chairs. I'm going to go to IKEA. I'm going to build some new chairs for them, bring it back in the house. I'm going to bring the chairs that they threw out the house back in the house. I'm going to give them bigger chairs so they can throw even more chairs out the house. And AKA the chairs are anxiety. So the funny thing, the paradox is the more you're trying to get rid of it, the more it comes, the more you check on it. For example, panic attacks. Panic attacks only come because of what you're doing with anxiety and what you're checking on your feelings. It's like, what does this breath thing mean? What does this sensation in my body mean? Oh my God, is this a panic attack coming? What does this feeling mean? And the more you freak yourself out and the panic attack comes. So a healthier way to act with those emotions is actually what no one teaches us in society is be okay with the emotion, accept it, let it burn, but don't just sit there, let it burn. Be there and focus mindfully, because it's your focus that your brain teaches you what you care about. Focus mindfully on doing the actions that support your life. And the paradox is by focusing mindfully on the actions that support your life, it will improve your relationship with the emotions. A lot of people attack me sometimes. Oh, you don't even care about emotion. Are you talking about suppressing them? I never said suppressing. I said accepting, having the emotion, and then acting on your values, which shows your brain, oh, they care about themselves. They're doing the things they value and they care about those things. So I'll support them in that now. It's literally, but you have to bring your brain with you, because even if you do those actions and you still spending time in your head on, oh, are they cheating on me? What does this jealousy mean? You're still feeding the pattern. So it's so simple to understand, because it's like, what do you spend your time on? And the more you spend your time on that, the more, of course, the brain's like, hey, this is something important. I'm a very efficient organ. Let me give you more of that. But as soon as you don't use it anymore, because you're okay with it, you accept it, you let it burn, and you go mindfully on going to the gym, growing your relationship with valued actions, growing your physical fitness, growing your business with valued actions. On some point, the brain's like, hey, I've been giving you this emotion and thoughts for all this time, these patterns that you used to use to protect yourself. I know it hurts you, but you're just like okay with it, and you keep going doing the thing that you value. I'm not going to give you these things anymore. I'm a very efficient organ. Why would I? I'm bougie. I'm very intelligent. I'm not giving you things that you don't use. So it's literally things that we use. And the more you're trying to make feelings feel better, the paradox is the more you hurt your mental health. The more you're okay with the feeling, acting on your values mindfully, the more you're improving your relationship with the emotions, because you build emotional fitness.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, because even some of the stuff that I try to educate people on around the psychology, let's say, of changing your like self-sabotaging behaviors, I suggest don't get like mad and angry and like ashamed about your like past behaviors, because the more time you're spending shaming yourself, you're going to feel worse about it. So then the worse you feel, then you're going to feel shittier. So if you feel shitty, you want to do bad things again. So you're increasing the probability that you're going to engage in self-sabotaging behaviors, aka the behavior that you wanted to stop, but you're trying to get rid of it through shame, as opposed to, like you're saying, sit with it. Just feel, hey, oh, you feel shitty? Okay, just let it happen. Don't fight it. Sit with it. You own it. Maybe have some compassion a little bit, right? So that way you don't fall into the shame. And then just be mindful. And then just like mindfully live the life, like you're saying, right? Do the things that a good person in your mind does. Well, what are those things? Well, like you said, right? Going to the gym, but be present while you go to the gym. Work on, like, do your writing mindfully. And over time, all of a sudden, you'll feel like it'll be like magic. Like, oh, I don't feel like a piece of shit anymore. It's like, yeah, that's how it works. It's like, where do you direct your mindful attention towards? That's going to be the place where change happens. But at the same time, I guess, like you said, the paradox is, but don't put the attention on, let's say, anxious thoughts, because you think that's going to, like, you're going to be able to change them by force, because that's just teaching your brain that's what you like doing. You like spending time on anxious thoughts.
Yeah. And the thing that you mentioned about shame is actually really interesting. Mark Freeman, who's a great teacher on OCD and other things, he made a post recently about shame. People asked, how do I get rid of shame? How do I get rid of shame? And the key actually to get rid of it is by doing all the things that you would do if you wouldn't feel shameful. Because people are always like, no, I have to clean up this shame or this guilt first, because before I can continue living my life. But by doing that, you're showing the brain that this shame is necessary because you're trying to clean it up. But if you can have the shame and you do the things that you would do if you didn't have shame with the shame, that's how you break the pattern, because you show the brain that you're not using it anymore, that you don't care about anymore. So it's actually same thing with people trying to clean something up before they move, like OCD, people trying to clean their hands before they can move on, do other things.
Wow.
You need to do other things to break those patterns. You need to move forward. And what I really enjoy is, like, this is also a exercise Mark Freeman created. It's the value garden exercise. And the value garden exercise is literally look at your life as a garden. You have like a piece of paper, and on the piece of paper, I like for focus, put like 7 values: romantic relationships, family and friends relationships, creative expression, fun, your business/money, your physical fitness, and your relaxation. And you write those out, spread them out like like different parts of the garden. Like strawberries I grow here, which is romantic relationships. Papayas I grow here, which is relaxation, etc. And you put them all out. And then you write underneath 5 actions of things that you are already doing to build that garden, and actions that you want to do, but you're not doing them yet because, oh, I'm too shameful, or don't feel good enough to start the podcast, or all kinds of things that you avoid because the brain says, oh, we're not ready yet, we're not healed yet, we cannot be in a relationship yet. And you write those down in actions. For example, physical fitness, boxing, gym, yoga, making healthy food, relationships, anything in action that you want to spend time with your partner on. That can be sex, of course, as part of it. That can be going to the gym together. That can be going traveling together, going on dates together. And what does a good relationship mean to you in actions? Relaxation can be mindful walking, yoga, whatever it means to you, your business. Maybe you already have something you make money, but maybe you want to add something like doing a podcast or TikTok. And you write those things down in actions in front of you. And if you change your life from acting on the emotional addictive engine, like trying to do something with thoughts and emotions, and you proactively put those things in your week and make the metric of success of doing more actions, you will change your brain really fast doing those actions mindfully, because you show your brain that you are a person who can do these things. In the beginning, it's going to feel like maybe weird, unfamiliar. You don't feel like it because the old pattern tries to protect you from those things that it thinks are dangerous. But you show the brain what you care about. So the more you do those things with any emotions and thoughts, the more you show your own value. And the less also in relationship, you're going to chase like happiness in another person, because you show yourself that you can water your garden yourself. But guess what? If you look at those actions, your garden is grown by those actions. Your support system, your family, your relationship, all of those things, your business, your physical fitness is grown by those actions. Your garden doesn't care about your feelings. And I know it sounds tough, but it doesn't, because your garden is like, hey, Niño, Sarah, Gucci, whatever your name is. I'm glad you have anxiety. I'm glad you have shame. That's totally fine. But look at the garden of physical fitness. It's dying over there. Like, we need to do some actions. Or I'm glad you have anxiety and all that stuff. You can have anxiety. It's great. But look at the social garden over there. You haven't been going out because of the anxiety, but it's dying over there. You're killing your support system. So that's why it's important. It comes from ACT therapy, ERP therapy, behavioral therapies, that we do those actions with any emotions mindfully. And don't think you have to be perfect. Right. It's just take up more territory. Don't think, oh, I have to be perfect. And if I do compulsions or if I do it wrong, I messed up everything. No, you just take up more territory. I like to give the example. If you want to go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and you go Monday and Wednesday, but Friday, you like tired and you eat cake and you don't go to the gym, and then you say, oh no, I fucked everything up. Everything's messed up. Did you get stronger? Yes, you did, because you went Monday and Wednesday. Friday, maybe you went like one step back. Fine. You go Sunday again. But if you give up, nothing's going to happen. And if you add up more territory over time, you are getting more emotional fitness. You get more focus. You get more physical fitness. You get more of those things, and you get stronger. And this is exactly what happens with emotions. The more you're okay with the uncomfortable emotions, move forward, the bigger of a space you become for them, and the less they're going to feel.
Yes, I think that is one of the biggest insights and wisdom of, let's say, meditating on emotions, right? It's how can you create a relationship with your emotions that doesn't always pull you into them, right? Mindfulness meditation allows us to create that space where we finally recognize, I mean, the hope is that people recognize you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are the awareness in which those things sit. And by doing a practice like meditation, and there's many other practices like yoga and whatnot, that will expand your awareness, the mental space, so that like me, even I can say I was an artist and I've had some crazy life experiences. I have plenty of memories and emotions that come in, but it doesn't bug me day to day. If anything, I love when they come in, because for me as an artist, it's an opportunity for me to be like, oh, let's engage with this in a way that I can create some art, make some writing. I can transmute the energy into something productive, in which it isn't like what it used to be, which is me feeling like I was in a very small box, and every emotion that arose, this is who I am. I am sad at this moment. That means that I can't go to the gym because I'm sad and right. And you get caught in these narratives, and you're describing a perfect strategy to get out of it, which is you don't listen to the emotion first, right? You create actions that then tell your brain that, oh, this is what you value more. So I'm going to stop giving you the emotions or the anxieties and stuff that take away your ability to do it. But I think that a lot of our society is going to be upset with that message because we're an emotional culture. Like, you're not respecting my emotions. I don't feel like I want to go to the gym today. So who are you to tell me that, like, I shouldn't be listening to my feelings, right? And I guess that's where the conflict arises.
Yeah, but I cannot promote that because that's going to hurt people's mental health more. So I'm not going even like, and plus I think I don't think it's a big majority as people make it. It's just the outscream of a certain side of society that just wants attention. And they're going to go on social media and make these videos of crying around and then the people who also want to be victims in society, because like victims go together, right? Yeah. They're going to like make those videos viral, and that's fine. That's not, and maybe some of them wake up one day with enough pain, be like, hey, this doesn't work. It doesn't seem to work. Some people get that doesn't sound happiness to me, but happiness a little bit from like victim mindset and trying to get like an identity. It's an identity, right?
It is.
Like, oh, I have ADHD. This is my identity. You don't understand. You like, they take labels, right? Whatever new labels they're going to find to make themselves an identity. And I have compassion with that because a lot of people just don't know another way. But this is why we make these videos, because people can wake up. And I don't even tell people to take any identity. I tell them to do the things you value, but don't do them to try to make like feelings feel better or trying to make insecurity feel better.
Find
like
a new identity.
Yeah. Do the things you value and see that you can actually build emotional fitness. It just takes someone maybe it takes enough pain, but I just can't go on that side because like there will be people who come to my videos and know, and these are the people I make these videos for, right? They know, they instantly know, oh, he's speaking from experience. This is something that needs practice, but it's something that has longevity, and people can see results in a matter of weeks practicing mindfulness, and then they can add on. It's like the same as physical fitness. If you look for a trick, or if you look for identity, or if you look for other things, like you most likely will always fail, because it always takes in life. You need to give something. You need to like grow something. You need to like put the seed in, nurture it with water. You need to nurture it. And it's the same thing. No one says that you have to change 180 right away. That's why I say be kind to yourself, but just take up more territory. But yeah, I cannot be on that side, and I don't debate with these people either. Like it doesn't. I get attacked. That's fine, but I never was like, because that's again emotional fitness, right? I can get attacked. I can get attacked for my hair. I can get attacked for
hey man,
I can get attacked for my skin color. I can get attacked for all kinds of things. And they find things that also can hurt. But let's say, okay, I got hurt and attacked, but I'm not going to make a video about it, because I can have this feeling. Again, I practice my own thing. I can have this feeling of being hurt. Maybe someone like attacked me, like tried to do the meanest things. Fine. And I can make the next video again to give value to the people with a good heart, who want to grow, who don't want to be victims. And maybe some people from the victim side come over on some point when they realize it doesn't work and go there. But I cannot go to that side because I'm wasting my time. There's a lot of times they don't want to hear. And I put all my videos out for free. So if someone wants to see and wants to look for it, they can. It's everybody's choice, but I'm not trying to convince people.
It's crazy because from my perspective, from a lot of like the spiritual side of it, like a lot of the messages within, like, let's say Tao and Mahayana Buddhism, is the idea of getting yourself out of the way, right? And that a lot of enlightenment, that you can live a more awakened life when you get yourself out of the way. And that's why for me, I go, let's not focus on our identity. Like this is a game, like you just said, to get involved in the drama of samsara, aka the, like, literally what we are all engaged in, this melodrama of the souls, the reincarnation cycle. It's like, this is in every evidence of it, like what you're talking about. that is the suffering. I'm like, this is the root of the suffering. You guys
Yeah.
create identities, then you wrap up your entire lives around these identities, and you can't escape them because then emotions
prison,
and all
right?
these, it's a prison and it weighs you down. You know, what's so much more fun is realizing you're not actually real. You're kind of, the concept that you hold of yourself is an illusion. And that gives you the freedom of God to be the creator. And the thing is, I just think most people don't want to let go of the story they have right now, because like you said, we become addicted to the narratives in which we felt something. Humans get addicted to emotions, and even powerfully sad ones. I remember myself being 17, 18. I loved my depression in some twisted fucking way, man. I loved it deep down. I like felt this sadness and frustration and cynicism. It was who I was. That's the core of who I was. And for me, what, like you talk about it was hitting my rock bottom, hitting a place where I was like, what the like, this is like the wake-up call. So sometimes I think you're right. Maybe don't get involved. Allow people, and sounds crazy, but I believe in this. Let people hit their rock bottoms. Let them do it, because that path is going to lead them down and they're going to hurt. And maybe then in that place, they'll come and watch a video and be like, you know what? I'm open and ready for this. But you can't force it on people either, you know? No. Which is hard because
be able to listen. And sometimes they gonna be able to listen after some pain, but it's not like that I want them to hit like rock bottom. It's like there's people I don't want them. That's why I make like so many videos about emotional fitness for people to understand. There's people who understand and they practice it. They message me all the time. I got rid of OCD, I got rid of ADHD, I got rid of panic attack. And there's still people in society who say, you cannot recover from ADHD, you cannot recover from OCD. Go on the internet, go on Reddit right now. If you still believe that, go on Reddit, go on YouTube, and watch how many people recovered from ADHD, OCD, who teach these things. I don't know who therapist, fucked up therapist, or fucked up psychologist, or fucked up society, craziness, victim mindset you go to, that you still want to believe that you cannot recover from these things. But you can see proof right now. Go on Reddit, go on YouTube. You can see real people telling you the story, how they recovered from BPD, ADHD, OCD. And then even there's going to be people that say, this was not real ADHD. You don't know, like, you
but they don't want to hear it because you're killing them.
They don't want to because they get their love from that, right? They get their love from that. But I'll tell you something about me. I used to be left alone. And that was one of the best things for me because no one came from me. In the beginning, I was still like screaming, like, oh, no one came. And that was like the best thing because I realized, oh, no one's fucking coming from me. So I'm the only one who can help me. And I think from that point, it's like, oh, I can help. Yeah, you can get support systems around you, but you're going to be the only one with you the whole life. You're born with yourself. You're going to die with yourself. You were with yourself every single moment. Every single moment. No one else, not your girlfriend, not your aunt, not your dad, not your mom. You were with yourself every single moment. There's 1,000 other girlfriends and boyfriends you can have. There's only one you that you can be with. So you better start making peace with yourself. And you don't even have to like start making, like go and do the fucking things that you want to do because you're going to be with yourself. So accept the emotions and go move forward.
Absolutely.
You know?
And I know that you, talking about emotions and everything, I want to talk about your perspective on relationships because look, I have a lot of my own, but yeah, I love the way that you talk like your videos on relationships because it's very like, there's this blunt wisdom about it, right? Like you talk about jealousy, for instance, and you mentioned it earlier. People are like, how can I stop feeling jealousy? And you're like, stop doing all the things involved with that emotion and the behavior. You're checking his shit. You're checking a phone. You're doing these behaviors that are teaching your brain, oh, you're a jealous person. So I'm going to give you more of that emotion. So I want you to expand on, well, hopefully jealousy. And also, what do you think then is how can people then work on themselves or get to a point where they don't feel insecure in their relationships?
So your first question is about jealousy, and the second is about
how do we move past it, I guess.
How to move past jealousy and insecurity in relationships. The pattern of jealousy and insecurity is exactly that. It's only a pattern. It's a programming. We think it's completely like, no, I'm supposed to be jealous. Say it again.
Because I know a lot of people define themselves as jealous. That's why I say, because a lot of people I know are like, I'm just kind of a jealous person.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Right?
Yeah, that's totally dumb. Because no, it's completely dumb because you are going to like, oh, I'm a jealous person. That's just me. That's the biggest cop out from anyone ever. Like, I'm just an ADHD person. I'm just an introvert. I'm just born as this. Really? Have you tried changing the pattern really for some time? That's like saying, I'm just born fat. I'm going to stay fat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one's born fat, of course. Well, maybe there's some chubby babies,
Chubby
but
babies.
I'm just fat. I'm going to stay fat. But we don't know that. And a lot of times, no one's going to say that it's like all your fault, because a lot of times we get the program from our parents, and we get, it's like a seed that is like, we are like sponges, and it's like little children. And we take on these things, then we think reality is completely normal, right? Give you an example. I used to be bullied in school for 7 years. My childhood, when I was younger, was also very unstable. My brother died when he was 4.5 in a pool. He drowned.
Wow.
And my mom had I was born a year later.
Oh,
and
wow.
my mom was, it's the worst thing for a mom, right? So she had a really hard time. So she left, came back, left, came back. I was at this place, that place, but there was not really any stability, and there was a lot of trauma and drama and a lot of drama.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, unstable, people screaming. And then in school for 7 years, I was just bullied, like every day. So you think then society, like, there's just danger. And my program was like, oh, people are just dangerous. I'm not opening up. I'm just trying to be the best so I get loved. Like, I was always like, oh, my mom's not there. I think I have to be the best. So my mom loves me. That didn't work out that well. So I was like, okay, I got to be the best for anybody else to love me. So athletics, anything, I always like try to ambitious. But even after school, I still had like, I remember I left school and I went to another school. That was the school that I was there was so fucked up. It was like the lowest kind of consciousness. It was like everybody was fighting. Everybody was like pushing other people down. It was just based on fear. I left to another school, which was a different atmosphere. But even in that school, when I had like in the beginning, when I did like a presentation, like I was standing in front of class with like a poker face. Under my shirt, I was sweating. I was red. I was like crazy because it was like still this, oh no, danger.
Yep.
They're going to like get at me. They're getting me. I sat down next to this girl and she was like, you did so great. It was so great. I was sweating like crazy. And like, but I learned even there more that people can be nice, but still it was like ingrained in me that I had to fight and danger and I had to impress. And from that place, I really thought that was true. I really thought I have to impress people. I have to do all those things to be loved. And there was no doubt in my mind that it's completely true. So I always tried hard, even in relationships. I always tried to impress the girl. I always tried everything. I lied when I was young. I lied so much, not like mean lies, not even like try to get person to whatever. It was like lies to like seem bigger. It was like just, and because it came from, oh no, I can only be loved if I'm this. But it was so like, there was no doubt in my mind. I have to be like a rapper or a basketball player. I have to be like huge, right? To make it. So we see how we get surrounded by this atmosphere, and we really believe in our belief system that this is the way.
Yep.
And we can only, I like to use visualization to like, even, and this is something that I just newly, and I did this bad, but visualization to like, just see yourself as a person that's liked by others. And then also like life experience will show you that your belief systems might be wrong. But those things, like you said earlier, I'm just a jealous person, I'm just this person, that's often just like their experience in those moments based on the programming they got from their parents, and then based on the confirmation bias that our brain's always looking for, the confirmation bias of our belief systems. So you're looking around, you're like, oh yeah, I'm just a jealous person. Oh, this is why there's red flags, there's red flags, there's red flags. And you find more and more of this. That's why it's so important to like break those, like find belief systems that are nurturing and then act in their way. But visualization helped me a lot to literally just, what would it feel like if I'd be liked? And what would it feel like if I'm just liked for just me and I can do less? And I started to do less. I started to do less. And you see how through your experience then and doing things that you value and thinking for yourself, your belief system over time can change so much that you don't recognize yourself anymore. So to your question, I know I went around, but I just wanted to get
I
some
love that,
empathy
man.
for people, because I came from that place, and
Yeah.
I hated people. Like, not hated people. I
No, you
wouldn't like say
resented.
that out loud. I was like, think of a dog that's always gets beaten, always gets beaten, always gets
Yeah.
beaten. They're gonna hate. They're gonna like humans, like danger, danger, danger.
Yeah.
I didn't consciously say I hated humans. It was like, and I didn't really hate. It was like this danger, danger, danger constantly. So, which was also a gift, because on some point I was like, bro, all these people bully me. All like, why would I give a fuck about their opinion? Let me just go my own way. So a lot of times, if you're an outcast, that can be one of your biggest gifts, because you let go of that narrative of the media and society. So when people say, oh, I'm just a jealous person, I'm just a jealous person, that's a lot of times just them having a cop out for not doing the work. I'm just an ADHD person. I have this identity. I create this identity. Now I tell everybody that I have this identity. I want to get love for this identity. I want to get compassion for this identity. This identity is the reason why I cannot do my music career, cannot do my painting career, but at least I have this identity. And then they're lying to themselves. So that's oftentimes the case. But if you really want to get out of it, out of the jealousy and insecurity, it's changing, again, the brain with your behavior. And it works like this. You're only feeding the jealousy if you're trying to fix the jealousy with behavior. That means you're jealous, you grab your phone, you like check what the boyfriend's doing, check what the girlfriend's doing, da 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 da. If you can be okay with that feeling and you start acting on your values, you're acting on in them, what do I want to spend my time on, instead of spending time in my head trying to figure out what my boyfriend's doing, what this, that. The brain will still try to pull you in because it's addictive, right? The old pattern is still like, no, 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 you cannot do this. Remember, he might cheat on you if you don't control the situation. Da, 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 da. That's why cognitive diffusion is so important. Cognitive diffusion comes from ACT therapy and ERP therapy. It's the differentiation of you and your brain. The thoughts say, he will leave me. The thoughts say, instead of saying, I know he will leave me, the thoughts say, the brain says, you're irresponsible, you got to control the relationship, he would cheat on you. The feelings try to get me to check, to talk to my girlfriends, to vent, all of those things. If you practice to be okay with the feeling and come back to supporting your own life, because a lot of times people are jealous and so insecure, they're chasing happiness in another person because they think they can only get the happiness in another person. We have to train ourselves that we can give to ourselves what we look for in other people. And it's going to feel weird in the beginning. Like, listen, everybody, I know it feels wrong. I know it feels weird, but it only feels weird because the brain needs to keep up the old. It needs to make you feel weird because it wants you to go back to the familiar toxic pattern. It must give you the feeling that this is wrong. Don't trust. It's not your intuition. It's the old pattern trying to pull you back. It's like the old drug addiction trying to pull you back. It's like the old addiction relationship trying to pull you back to the ex. Anything like that. Have the feeling and go now, do the value garden and mindfully go, even if it feels wrong. After some time, it's not going to feel wrong anymore. And this is how you create self-love. So that's how you break it. But some people are going to be like, oh, but it's 400 pounds. It's too heavy for me, to the jealousy and insecurity right now. That's why you have to understand that it's not only the subject that you're doing the compulsions. The brain is like, all the emotions are connected. So I'll give you an example. You wake up in the morning and you have boredom and uneasiness and anxiety, and you're like, no, I don't want to have this anxiety. Let me grab the phone. You just been a slave to the brain because the brain gave you that. You grab the phone, try to scroll, make the feeling feel better. You're being reactive. You're reacting reactive. The brain doesn't care what it gives you. It just wants you to do compulsions to stay protected. So it gave you anxiety, it gave you boredom, which is 20 pounds. It's less than the 400 pounds jealousy that you're freaking out about. But if you keep doing that, you're still getting emotionally weaker, and you're not the 400 pounds is like way out there. But if you're able to say, okay, I can have this urge to check what Kim Kardashian or whatever, Instagram, whatever do, or check if my boyfriend texted me. If you can I can have this uncomfortable feeling, and I can go to the gym right now. I can make myself breakfast mindfully, present moment. Because if you still spend time in your head while making breakfast, you're still feeding the pattern. Oh, but what about the phone? What is Kim Kardashian doing? What jealousy? What is the boyfriend doing? You're still talking back. We cannot control the thoughts that come in. That's okay. I'm not asking you to control the thoughts that come in. You cannot control the feelings that come in. Don't control them, but you can control if you talk back. And that talking back is keep feeding the pattern. So you want to have the feeling of boredom, uneasiness, and go to the gym, go for a walk, do the things that not to avoid those feelings, that grow your garden, build your business, do those things. You show your brain that you trust yourself. Then you were with boredom, uneasiness, with 20 pounds, 40, you create more emotional fitness. And then it's going to also be easier over time to break that jealousy. So don't think the brain's just like, oh, this one subject is my problem. I promise you, I can see I can ask anyone, they also going to have like, oh, when I have boredom, when I have uneasiness, or when I'm sad, I'm going to vent. Venting is a compulsion too. You're trying to make a feeling feel better. You go to your friends and family, venting or loneliness. It's all reactive emotions. Let's say someone comes home from work and they have a feeling of loneliness and they grab the phone to go on Tinder. That's a compulsion. They're trying to make, and then the brain's like, oh, you love fixing loneliness? Let me give you more loneliness. I'm going to give you loneliness every day and you can do more Tinder stuff. And that's reactively. So we want to change from being reactive to proactive. So proactive is, we're not saying you don't want to build relationship. You don't want to be lonely. No one says that. But we can proactively say, hey, I want to go out with my friends on Saturday to the movies. I want to have a family night on Wednesday playing volleyball. And I'm going to set that right there proactively, show my brain I'm doing that. And no matter if I don't feel like it that day or what feelings I have, I'm going to do it to show my brain I'm the boss and to support that part of the garden. Because even the feeling of not feeling like it, some people are like, it's my intuition. No, it's just the brain knowing what you react to. The brain literally knows exactly what you react to. I have so many clients who react to guilt, like females who react to guilt. Oh, you're not a good girlfriend, and then the guilt comes up. They try to be a good girlfriend or whatever, like the guilt comes up, right? They're reacting to guilt. Someone else reacts to anger. Some acts to, but the brain knows what it needs to give you because it has a data bank from 20, 30, no matter how many years you live, years of knowing what you've been reacting to. And it thinks that this is important because you keep acting on it.
Right.
So that's how it kind of works. That's how it works. And that's how you can break it.
No, it's brilliant because the process that you're explaining legitimizes what so many people have been trying to tell people, that discipline is the roadmap to freedom, right? And a lot of people don't like that because I think on that far left side, unfortunately, that's where it comes from. It's like, oh, no. If you don't want to go to the gym, honor yourself today and don't go. And it's like, look, I get the balance approach. I get it. You don't need to go to the gym 7 days a week. But if you haven't even begun the journey of discipline, and your first step is, I'm always going to listen to my body first. It's like, well, you mean the unconscious behavior patterns?
Your body wants you to go to the gym.
Exactly. Your body wants you to go.
Fuck you. Right. Fuck your feelings. I'm of course like joking halfway. And I do understand moderation. Like there's also people who go every day to also make a feeling feel better, right? They have also insecurity on the other way. So yes, I do understand. You don't only need to water the garden. Maybe you like running. Maybe you like swimming. You have to go to the gym. Maybe you have climbing. But supporting your physical body, you have only one physical body. And yeah, it's important. And the whole thing of like, oh, I need to honor. Yeah, if you honor your body, you go to the gym,
right? And they're like, I'm going to honor myself. I'm going to have a cake today.
You tell me honoring your body is following your urges of eating chocolate cake every day or chips. That's not honoring your body. And you know that it's just your old toxic pattern, you know?
But it's crazy because that message is celebrated online. It's like, good for you. Self-care day. I'm like, that's not self-care.
I used to believe that too. I think it's just the loudest people. I'm serious. And then it's the outrage brings you on that side of the algorithm. And I do understand that the new times are like softer people. So I do truly believe, I do truly agree with you. But also there's a lot of people not being on social media and not want to cry around and like they just do stuff. And there's a lot of sites on social media where you see like fitness channels, they go, But yeah, I do understand that there is a side that's usually on the left. But I don't like politics anywhere. Like I'm not right or left because even on the they're all like
me neither,
even on the right. When you see like Candace Owens or like
oh my god,
anybody who's like and she's smart, but then saying everything is demonic and everything is like and they all have the same opinions. They don't even like
they don't think for themselves.
People think for themselves. They all go on the right. They're all going to be. I'm generalizing right now. So if someone on the right is not religious, I'm so sorry, but they're all religious. They all are. I'm blanking right now.
They like guns.
Say it again.
They like guns.
Guns. Yeah, it was very generalized, but a lot of the speakers for them are just like the same. And on the left, like I'm probably gonna get canceled if I say something gets. So thank you for the people on the right who actually. So I just want to give props to people on the right because you wouldn't cancel me, and the people on the left, you know what a fuckhead you are. I'm not gonna mention your dumbass right now. So, but I'm halfway joking. So I have compassion for everyone, but the far right and the far left, like think for yourself. Like why
Right.
would you like? Why is there only two parties? Anyway, it's
See, I
almost
think-
like voting for the same thing anyway. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, it's
Well,
just companies and companies making money at the end of the day from your thing. So stop fight. Here's the thing: stop getting into these groups and yeah, do what you think is right and vote for what you think is right. But then come back to your own life and see. Oh, this shit doesn't matter. Like I'm telling you, I was for 2 months in Mexico, and before Mexico, I was still like checking, like, oh, what's happening, Andrew Tate and social media and politics and this and that, and the left says this and blah blah blah. This, I swear, when I was like in the sun, I didn't check my phone once, and guess what happened? Absolutely fucking nothing happened. Nothing changed, other than I had super much time, and I was so much more relaxed. It's just sucking you in. It's another addiction sucking you in.
Right.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened in the 2 months. Nothing that me not watching this changed anything about my life. I got happier, and I had hours and hours and hours, and I took that with me. I'm not even scrolling anymore. TikTok used to be so dope back in the day. It was just like those us nerds, like nerds being creative, and
It was cool.
now everything is a company concern, and like it's all, everything comes back in, right? And I still love TikTok. I still love Instagram. It gives me the platform, and YouTube, it gives me the platform. But at the same time, like start thinking for yourself and stop believing that these people who pretend like they're authorities have it all together. They don't have it all together. I know so many of these speakers who pretend, oh, I never have anxiety, I never have these things. They fuckheads. Like they are behind the scenes, like just pretending, having this professional thing on themselves, being all clean cut, and to sell their books, to sell their stages, to sell the things. And that's cool. No, but then it presents this picture that we're not human beings anymore. We're supposed to have feelings. It's like Mark Freeman says, you are not a rock. Like check out You Are Not a Rock. It's a great book by Mark Freeman. Like we are not rocks. We're supposed to have feelings. And these people, oh, I'm a guru. I'm telling you, every single motherfucker of these people has anxiety, has things. Yeah, they might deal with it. Okay, I can have this and go forward, but they have it. Don't put someone on a pedestal where you think, oh, they're these master, blah, blah, blah. Be your own authority. Trust yourself. If I have a message, this is like the biggest message. Trust yourself and trust your life experience. Try things out and do them for yourselves. I'm not even telling you what to do. I'm telling you, try these things out that I'm saying. Try things out that everybody's saying and see what works. Don't put someone on a pedestal and say, oh, every single one of that thing works. That's why empathy is so important. We're all so fucking different. Every one of us is so different. You have your map for you. You figure out your map for you. Those people have like this cookie cutter, and even the best cookie cutter one still only gets 30% of you, still only gets 30%. The other 70% is so like marginalized, like different. And even in relationships, people have like this relationship advice of like, this is what you got to do with this person there. This is what you got to do. Always got to do this. Always got to do this. If you really have empathy, if you're really curious about another person, you will understand them you will never understand someone to 100%. Because people are too complex, but you will understand them to the 100% that you can understand them. If you come with curiosity instead of belief systems from Red Pill or other things, or like dating PUA that come on and you trying to see them through that lens, and someone will not feel your presence. They will not feel hurt because you are literally filtering them through a belief system, if that makes sense.
Right. It's the core of the wisdom of, you need to strip yourself. I mean, this is my little impartial thing on the world, is like, strip yourself of the dogmatic ideologies and narratives that have been given to you throughout your life. Like you said, while you were growing up, you were a sponge, and the dogmatic narratives and ideologies were pushed within you. And now you identify as this and that. And these identities become powerful because your psyche, or ego, if we want to talk the psychological terms, needs an identity. That's how it continues to survive. So being a part of these narratives, of these groups, gives you power. It gives your ego power, but that power, it strips you, the individual, of what you actually have. What's your actual power?
Exactly.
Presence. If you can be present with an individual and just be with them and sit with them and actually listen, you'll become the best at relationships. Not because you had to listen to another dogmatic, this is how you embody your masculine, and you make them some. Look, is there some wisdom in some advice? Sure. But like you said, nothing out there can fully give you as an individual your full truth. And Bob Peck, who I had on my podcast last, we came to this beautiful little conclusion. We're like, there's 7 billion different paths to enlightenment. And the wisdom of that really should ring true. And I think you're saying the same thing, right? Which is, look, pick and choose and listen and learn, but nothing inherently that anyone else preaches to you is going to work totally for you insofar as you are a unique person. Of course, even like you said, there are some principles around the brain that are going to be pretty general. Like, for instance, your brain's language is behavior, that stuff is going to work. If you create a set of values and you create actionable, intentional routines that support those values, that's going to ease your mind and create a mind space that is more aligned with that garden. And right, your mind will become more still over time if you put that stuff into practice. However, at the end of the day, how you decide to live your life and what you decide to think should not come from anyone else but your deepest core values and stuff that, from in my point of view, is your inner child. That's about the reconnecting with your inner child. And to touch on the story you said, right, somewhere along that journey, I'm guessing you had to confront that behavior pattern of feeling like every human was a potential person who hurt you. You had to look at your inner child and go, hey, that's not real. Compassion, what you went through, man, like that's a lot of suffering. I feel for you, but you're not a kid anymore. That's not the reality. Come on, let's go. Like time to grow up. And that's it, right? Like you can't grow up unless you're willing to like go back, confront your unconscious behavior patterns, and then live intentionally in the moment. That's it. You have to.
And I think one of the most powerful sentences that we can use that most people don't use is I don't know. Because we think as human beings we need to know and like chase the certainty, but really if you look at it, like how can we explain a seed going in the earth and it knows exactly the imprint of making a tree? How can you explain a cells coming together and it knows exactly where the heart is, how to pump it for 80 years, where the brain is, where your eyes are, making the color of your eyes, making you see? And it's like, it's almost like the surrender of it. We don't have to, I like to say, we don't have to know how the light works. We just have to know how to switch the light on and off. Or we don't have to know how the phone works. We just have to know like how to put it together. We just have to know how to use it. Maybe one day, I don't know, in the future, maybe people come closer to how this all works. But in reality, I do believe there's a good thing about the magic of the present moment and just connecting to it and surrendering and saying, you know what, I don't know, and allowing yourself mistakes. Like
absolutely
allowing yourself, even like me, like talking on this podcast, right? Like I said, or maybe repeated 2 words, 3 words, whatever. Okay, like I'm getting better, like, but I can show my process in front of everybody. So that's to me more powerful than like someone who says, no, I'm the best. And they have this shit because it doesn't connect to anything, right?
Right.
And what does it help? But I'm going on a podcast and I made 4,000 videos on TikTok. And I started out maybe not as good, but I got better. And I showed my little child, I took my child by the hand, did the TikToks. And guess what happened by doing the TikToks authentically, what I believed in? That's where actually everything changed, because I got like 100,000 followers in the beginning after like 6 months. And people were like, I love you. I love you.
I was following you back there.
I love you. And like these messages, you changed my life.
Yeah.
I was doing like, I was suicidal, like all kinds, and like send me every day, comments. And my brain couldn't like, I'm like, what is like, why? I wasn't like coming from not being loved and bullied to like getting all this love. It was like, what is going on? And then I was like, there's good people out there. There's good people. And I didn't know there was good people out there. There's people like me out there. There's people with good hearts out there. There's people who don't want to hurt other people, because I met a lot of people who hurt other people. And then seeing these people being so thankful and saying, oh, I love you, and keep like writing messages. I'm like, I'm so confused, because in my life, like from my relationships, maybe I had like 3 love letters, and it just came. And I'm like, and this changed my perception of human beings. It was like, wow, there are people who appreciate me so much. But it came from me being myself, from me making these videos. So I didn't want to drive Uber and Lyft forever.
You also said something. You said something about surrendering to the humility of the present moment and kind of a not knowing. And it's ironic because I'm reading Alan Watts' The Way of Zen.
I love Alan Watts.
And one of the wisdoms from Taoism or from Zen Buddhism, sorry, rather, it's about literally just not trying to do anything or like at all. And in a way, it's like getting yourself, your ego, get it out of the way, and whatever it is you're doing, just doing it. And if you're doing that, you're moving with the flow. You're moving with Tao. Tao is moving through you. And I really believe in these principles, because then you can see them enacted in practicality. And it's very practical. It's when you get out of your way, you start doing the things that you want to do. Why? Because you don't overthink it. You just do it because it's aligned with your values and your integrity. And ironically, when you move with God or Tao or whatever word you want to use, your life gets better. I truly believe that. And that's, I do want to give people hope that there is a way to make your life better. Even it doesn't mean you have to follow a precise path. It just means you have to get out of your own fucking way. Because the idea that you hold of yourself is always going to be just that, an idea. And the idea you hold of yourself, no matter how good it is, it's an idea. And insofar as you keep thinking about it, it's going to be, like you said, a compulsion of a sort. And a narrative or an identity is in of itself a compulsion. I love that word that you used. And your brain wants to continue creating it because that's just its job. It's part of what it is. Don't hate your brain, but don't pay it the mind. Don't fall into it, because God knows your brain can create wonderfully addictive stories for you to fall into. And I think this is a good opportunity to fall into. You talk about love, and I think you have a quite controversial but powerful take on romantic love. And you think that, and I want you to say with your own words, but
I think
that,
go
like,
ahead. I want to know what
you
I
think that a lot of people's idea of romantic love is not love at all, but just a compulsion, an addiction to highs and lows. And I'm going to take a quick break because I really have to go pee, and I'll be right back.
Okay, while you take the break, I'm going to say something. Okay. You take the break. Yeah, go pee. I just want to say something because, and Niño can rewatch this. But I am, one of my biggest superpowers in life is to always be okay with me being wrong. Like, it's to be always willing to be wrong. And I just want to say, from everything that I said, even with the behavioral therapy, I'm not rigid. I use tools for myself uniquely, and I want you to use tools for yourself uniquely. So what I mean with that is, I'm not only in ACT therapy. I know this is how the brain works, and this will help me. But what you talked about, the Zen and the Taoism, I do believe they say that it's better to sail with the ship, with the wind, than row against the stream. Oh, you back already? That was fast. You were fast.
I had to run. I was like,
you were so fast. Okay. So what I actually said, now you're back. I said, and this is what I want to mention before we go into the love, because you talked about the Zen. And I said that one of my biggest superpowers, I believe, in life is to always be willing to be wrong. Mm-hmm. And most people aren't willing to be wrong. I'm always willing to be wrong in old belief system to find something that's more useful. So you can give a great example, like people with religions, they're usually not willing to be wrong, right?
No.
Because like this is their identity. Or people who have ADHD, they're not willing to be wrong because this is their identity. So I believe it's so powerful to always be wrong, willing to be wrong. And I want to say that exactly what you said earlier, we have our own map that we create and what helps us. So I want to say, even though I talked a lot about the brain and behavioral therapy and ACT therapy, that's one thing that helped me so much. But the Zen that you mentioned, that's also a part of my life, the surrender. And I get actually even back now into more spirituality and visualization, other things. But with the Zen, what Alan Watts also said is, it's better to use the wind to sail versus rowing against the stream, right? And we can always find things how we can make things lighter, how we can use the wind, how we can surrender, how we can stop hitting our head against the wall. So I want to say, if you see someone and they teach you something about an aspect, use it as a tool, try it out, but don't think it's all encompassing. You can use other things that come in. I use ACT therapy, ERP therapy, Zen, visualization, Neville Goddard, all those, Alan Watts, all those beautiful things. But in the end, I'm my own authority and I decide. And I want everybody, if you listen to this and you get one message, make yourself your own authority. And that comes a lot of times by having the pattern of, oh, but I don't trust myself. That's only the pattern. Don't trust yourself and do the things you value anyway. You will see how over time you trust yourself because you show your brain with your behavior that you trust yourself. Even the pattern of insecurity. Oh, I have insecurity. That's why I cannot go out date. Go out date with insecurity, and then insecurity will go away over time because you break it. So you build the trust by doing things. Stop being addicted to self-help and stop avoiding life with self-help to make a feeling feel better. Use the tools and practice them. It's like if you read everything about playing tennis, but you never go on the court, you cannot get better playing tennis. So go on the court and play tennis.
Play some damn tennis, people.
Yeah, exactly. Tennis is fun also, golf or whatever you're into.
Dude,
know?
I love it, man. It's ironclad wisdom that'll last centuries. It doesn't really matter. And like you said, be your own authority, man. But I don't know if it's a societal thing or maybe just the way we are. Probably.
Yeah, it's like being in school. Oh,
yeah.
What's the right answer? What's the right answer? What's the right answer for like sponges, like 5-year-old kids? Like, oh, and the teachers, oh, now I have power. I can teach them that I'm the best.
Right.
I had so many teachers like idiots like that. Yes, I get my identity from teaching this little, you know?
Yep. I even remember there was like something, I forget what class it was. It might have been math or something where they were teaching something. And for whatever reason, I knew that that wasn't literally true because they have to teach you math in steps and they leave out some important parts. And I remember just even questioning like, hey, but isn't this not really real because there are numbers that are less than 0? And he's like, yeah, but like, I can't tell you that right now. And obviously I think that's fine in teaching math, but it was a microcosm, an example that demonstrated how you can't even like, there's no engagement with yourself. There's no engagement with knowledge in these systems. It's just like, please shut the fuck up. Let us tell you how this is going to work because we already assume that we know how this is going to work for you. And please don't ever think for yourself. We have people in authority and these people in authority have the accreditation and the right way of doing it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, dude, but I see a lot of these therapists. I'm like, your life looks shitty. Why would I ever listen to you, man? Like, I love my life, which is like, why I like to listen to myself. I am, like you said, I'm the author, the authority, the creator, the God of my life. I believe that.
Yeah. What's missing in school a lot is to do projects yourself. Because that creates confidence. It's just like, oh, this information is right. Okay, I need to regurgitate it. I need to learn it. I need to put it in test. But like groups trying to figure out problems themselves, actively going in a direction where there's anxiety and still like building something anyway. Like you can use your money so much better of just like, oh, starting your own company right away and like failing, but like having wisdom from it, learning social media yourself, instead of going to school and regurgitating. Like who goes to school for business if you like have all this information? Like rather take that money and like go to someone who's good at business and learn from them. In school, like if they were good at business, there wouldn't be teachers in school.
Dude, amen. The amount, I mean, like, look, obviously I don't want to shit on teachers. There's some amazing
of course they're
there.
also like very important. It's many like there's a nuance. So we take it of course to exaggerating sometimes or to generalize things to make a point, but of course there are amazing teachers out there who help so many people, and it's important to learn English and other things, and it's important to have the social setting of the school. That's one of the most important things, because the more community social you are, the more you practice being social with other people, and where other places where you can learn it like school. So there's many important things to school. I'm not like fuck school.
But you know what, something that I will actually leaving to say, because you're talking about teachers and the methods, one of the biggest takeaways that I learned from studying psychology was this important fact, which is that the #1 predictor of therapeutic success is not the type of therapy. It's not even like the methods or any of that. It's just simply the relationship quality of the therapist and the individual. Now, what does that tell you? It's like, it's not really about the specific method. Is there a genuine connection? Is there a human relationship in there? Is somebody holding presence? And if that's present, growth and all that can happen with people. And right.
Yeah.
And that's why I really lean into that. Cause like you said, arm yourself with all the tools of the world. But man, you're going to learn so much when you're just present with people. And that really is the facilitating factor of
And
like
presence
growth.
is such a gift.
All
Like
you got.
there's a story of Eckhart Tolle. Say it again.
It's all you got.
Yeah. There's a story of Eckhart Tolle before. So you probably know the story, but he was so depressed. He wanted to kill himself. And then he asked himself, he said, I cannot live with myself anymore one night. And he was like, what is the me then and the myself? And he like spread apart and became present. And he was sitting on the park bench. And then he was present for some years, but it was before he wrote his book. And he was at his house or place, and this healer came visit him. And she was like all caught up. She was like, my neighbor is trying to sue me. Here are all the papers. And she was like freaking out. And he was just present, like just listen to her, completely present, just listen, standing there present and listen to her. She kept going. And at some point she was like being caught by his presence. And she was like, this is not important at all, is it? And he was like, no. And she ran out, right? So she ran out, came back the next day to him. And she was like, she looked at him. She was like, what did you do to me? You healed me. And he was like, huh? Because he was just present. He was just present with people. Yeah. And she was like, I'm going to bring people to you. And he was like, what does it mean? So she went out literally and she brought him like people to heal like every day. And he wouldn't teach nothing. He wouldn't teach anything. He would actually just sit in silence and presence with him. And what he said, that many, 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 many of these people had such beneficial changes and beneficial effects just from him sitting in presence with him. He was just present. He didn't teach nothing. He was just sitting there in complete presence. So I do believe that presence can have such an amazing effect on people. Yeah. Dude, but sorry, I completely mixed up your plans. We wanted to talk about love and emotional addiction.
Hey man, no. Let it flow, baby. Yeah, I ain't resistant to it. Hey,
go with the flow, like Alan Watson.
Exactly.
With the wind.
No, I do think I love your take on relationships, because it is, look, this is a podcast for nuance, and nuance invites a little bit of controversy, to crack out the black and white ideas that are currently permeating through culture. So look, a lot of people out there who are listening have this idea of romance that is very passionate, and we're just always in these highs and lows, and it's addictive, and we yell, but then we kiss each other and pull each other in. Now, you don't think, in your point of view, that's not love?
I don't think most people know what love is.
Ooh.
It's emotional addiction.
Ooh, preach it, brother.
Yeah, because it's like the toxicity is creating an emotional cocktail in your body. The hot and cold, someone's ignoring your text, and then they go anxiety, and then you correlate those emotions with that person and the addiction, and you think that's love, because it's like the same as like a drug addiction, like withdrawal relief, and then you attach to that person, and that attachment you think is love. That, oh my God, I cannot live without them. I'm attached. I love them so much, and then they play games, you play games, and the more attachment, and people bump their heads constantly, and they think that's love. But in reality, it's just like withdrawal drug. Oh no, I'm jealous, they might cheat on me. No, oh, we love each other. When jealous, no. It's a cocktail that's creating your body, and it creates a fucking crazy emotional addiction. And there's people, Stockholm syndrome. I've seen people with literally crazy I'm serious. I've seen a girl with Stockholm syndrome who the guy stole her money. She had to sleep on her side of the bed with her money for them not stealing, punched her regularly in the face.
Oh my God.
And she would keep going back. She would go press charges for the money it stole, go back, every time go back. And literally her eyes would so that's an extreme example. Her eyes change when she would only hear the name or would be around him. And she can't be with guys who treat her well, because her thing of love is that. So she's not even attracted to guys who treat her well. She always goes back to the same person and beats her up, treats her bad, cheats on her. I don't even want to say the other things,
right?
But even though I didn't say who it is, but that is like an extreme example, right?
But you're saying that's going to happen in even the
No,
less
that
extreme.
doesn't necessarily. That's an extreme example that can happen. That can
But the
happen.
pattern of
The
that
pattern of the
yeah.
emotional addiction, yeah. You getting treated bad. That's why a lot of like, oh, I love assholes. I love this and that.
Oh yeah.
Is part of because of the emotional addiction, and they think it's love. It's not love. Now that doesn't mean that love actually feels way better. It's like there can be a connection. There's a connection, but and that is like there can be feelings the same way. But the chasing happiness in another person is what is created by those Disney stories, is what's created by all those, oh, we need to get married. And like marriage sounds to me like it was created to control, to be honest.
Yeah.
To control people, to always stay with them. We always need people. We think it's this only soulmate and we need it forever because that's what you learn. And it might be great. Like there are people who go like this, but to chase happiness in this one person, and then you see people killing themselves because they're like, no, this was my only soulmate. And the emotional toxicity is supported also. Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body, right?
Yes.
The pain body is supported by the story. So the story, oh, this was the only person, I cannot live anymore. Bam. And that people think is, and this is what the brain is so powerful. The brain will warp your reality so much that you need, if you don't wake up, yeah, it's going to be like ending not so well, but it's going to warp your reality so much that with confirmation bias, the toxicity, the stories, you only see it's this person. It's only this person. I don't care how much they smash my face in. I don't care that they hurt me, they cheat on me. That's why so many go back cheating, because they are so attached. It's an attachment that's created by this emotional toxicity. And that person is imprinted on that attachment. So, and it comes all from growing up, believing that happiness is also in another person and chasing that happiness in another person, and us not learn to train ourselves to, even if we don't feel like it, support our own garden. But there are people who are like this, who keep supporting their own garden, who keep acting on their values, and they are very sufficient in themselves. They find happiness there, but that doesn't mean they don't have relationships. They also have happiness in relationships. It's beautiful. I'm not saying don't be in a relationship, be in a relationship and try yourself out. But if you do compulsions in relationships, like constantly trying to make feelings feel better, trying to chase, trying to control jealousy, that will cause emotional toxicity, and it will just create this emotional addiction where you're mistaking it for love, because it feels kind of like good, so strong. So you're like, oh, this must be love. And then people always like, oh, but what is love? And that answer, no one can give that answer. Like, how do you give that answer?
See, I think
like
love is undefinable. Yeah,
it's like, what is love? Love is more of an undoing. I think we already love the more we
are
like,
love.
We are love. And we can have a beautiful connection where we act on our values. We do loving actions, and we have this strong connection to a person, not based on this emotional toxicity, but to say, oh, I know what love is. I can explain love. And people, that's one of the big discussions they ask me also. Okay, you explain what not love is. What is love? Tell me one fucking person who can sit there and give me a mathematical equation on love. Like, that's like saying, what is God? Like, you can experience
it's the same. That's the same thing. That's the exact same question.
Yeah. So I don't have an answer. I just would say, if you do loving actions for yourself and do the things you value and support yourself, you're more likely to find love than if you try to chase it in another person. But for me to say, oh, I can explain to you right now what love is, ask some other person.
Yeah.
Like, and if they tell you, I doubt it. I want to hear the answer that they give it.
Yeah, let me give my, because I don't know what love is, but I know the foundations and the principles upon which love arises. Love arises when you are actually, like, love can only truly arise between two individuals. Well, when they're willing to be vulnerable. You can't experience love if what you're presenting to another person is an idea of what you want them to see or be, because at that point, whatever's created is an illusion. But if you show up authentically as whomever you are and you give yourself to someone, like what I mean, vulnerability, then the possibility of love can arise, because love exists on a coin with pain. That's just the way it is. But again, love, I think in its purest form, because again, this is my perspective as someone who practices like Buddhist values.
But don't you think pleasure and pain are on a coin and love is above?
I think, yeah, one could say that. I think that the love with a partner arises out of selflessness. If you have, like you said, if you are attached to the person, that means that the love that you are giving is conditional. It's conditional upon what role you're fulfilling in my life, who I want you to be, how I want you to make me feel, right? And that isn't love. That is conditional love, and I've put that in another category. But love is selfless. It's like you emanate love because, like you said, your garden is full. You already know how to love yourself, aka loving myself is showing up to my values, like being disciplined. In my point of view, that is loving myself, is treating myself with care and intention. So if I'm doing that already in my life, naturally my belief is that that's when you'll attract people who are at your like vibe and your level, your frequency. And when they come into your life, you don't need them there. You were already full in your garden. But damn, you know what? They're aligned enough that you're willing to serve them. So now love becomes an act of service. And this is kind of a Christian base, but again, I was raised Catholic and these ideas are in my brain. So then your love becomes an act of selfless service for another person because you just genuinely, for whatever reason, you just love them. You want what's best for them. Not because I need you to be my wife, but because I love you. You are I think you're a good person. You are aligned with my values. I want you to take up space in my life. And I think that those conditions are the ones that in my life, in my experience, that is when love has entered my life. Now, I can't quite put my finger on love because I think like God, you can't put your finger on God, but you can experience God. I believe I experience God when I see the sunrise and the sunset. I experience God after a long run and I feel those like that moment, right? In that same sense, you get to share love with another person. You don't get to have it. You don't get to own it. But you get to share it with people because I truly believe, yes, I know this is me, in the present moment when you die and nothing is there but the awareness, that is it. That's God, that's love, that's the true essence of all of it, of all of this.
Yeah. I
And if
think
you
the
could
more
share
you
that.
focus on love and the more you love, the more love comes to you. But the more you chase love, the more love runs away from you.
You have to be it, right? You have to be the love that you want.
You have to feel love before you can feel love.
There you go.
Yeah. It's like never got the wish fulfilled. You know?
Is that how it
Yeah.
Dude, that's a lot like Joe Dispenza, right?
I don't know. I'm not so I haven't listened. A lot of people ask me about him. Maybe I should listen a little bit.
I think it is. It's like the idea of you have to emanate from your
You have to live in the end, like already like feel loved. And I feel like that also helps to change the belief system a lot when you already feel like you loved by people and like you visualize it, and then outside you change your belief system slowly. I truly do believe.
I had a podcast about that, how your thoughts create your reality, not in like some woo-woo way, but practical. Because if you believe that you're, for instance, if I think that people are kind, I'm probably going to be more like chill in a social environment, so people will be kinder to me. It's like, that's what ABC.
Exactly. He says also, everybody's us pushed out, and I totally believe that. Like, I totally believe that if we change our belief systems about other people, we're going to get different people, and I'm working on that actually right now a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
I am too. You know what, Star? It's one of the biggest things for me has been trying to be like, you know what? Like, be as curious about everyone as I can, even when people are fucking rude and mean and like, I'm like, no, you know what? I'm not going to make an assumption here. Like, I'm going to try to live by the like 4 agreements. Don't make assumptions. Don't take it personally. Be impeccable with my word and try my best. So I'm like going into a situation and I'm going to try my best to not make an assumption, to not take something you say personally, and to really want to connect with people. And when I do that, I got to tell you, like, you know, I'll be going out and about and like with a friend or whatever, and they're there and they're like, wow, you seem to just talk to everybody. And like, you're just connecting with everybody. And I'm like, you could too. I'm not special.
Yeah,
like,
everybody could.
Like, you just got to be
so cool.
willing and curious. And people, you see it, they light up. And like you said, all of a sudden that side of you, that I'm putting out there comes out from them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can see you going around and like making people's day. Yeah. That's true. And it's like, so, it's what I retrained myself, and I keep retraining myself. I'm like, because I used to be like, oh no, everybody's like
Right.
bullying, like everybody attacks me. Duh, duh, duh. And now I'm trying to like walk around and literally like purposely be like, no, everybody loves me and everybody's my friend. And I'm trying to like revision that. And it works. It helps. And and this is again a practice that people need to try. But a lot of people, they read things and they don't try.
It's what you said earlier. Hey, again, like, I mean, it's funny you mentioned gurus. I very tongue-in-cheek and satirically, I call myself the guru who knows nada, aka I'm calling myself the thing that claims to know everything while openly stating I don't know anything.
Yeah.
But I truly believe that's where my wisdom arises from, that I really do go, I don't know shit, man. Like I think I know some things, but I'm always willing to be wrong. I have that same value star, and like that takes me so much further in life.
It's true. It's like was it Socrates or Plato said,
Socrates.
I know that I don't know. I know that I don't know nothing. I think the most intelligent people in the world know that we don't know anything, bro. Like, because the universe, aliens, like, it's so like you can't even call it big. Like we so small. So I think it's funny when I see like these arrogant people being like everything, and like I think, yeah, it's crazy. So I think there's a good thing about it's more chill too. It's like, I don't know, it's okay, and it gives more space for miracles.
I want to ask, because look, from my experience, I think, and people tend to like to hear about this, the thing that humbled my arrogance was DMT. Like, I did dimethyltryptamine, which is the most powerful hallucinogenic on planet Earth, and I did a dose that would be called a heroic dose, aka I did a lot of it. And
at once,
at once. And so I came back from that experience with the kind of awareness that you just said.
So what happened? Like what happened in the experience?
Something that is so unimaginably incomprehensible and irrational, yet the most real experience I've ever had in my entire life. So it made me recognize anything that I believed certainly I could not actually be certain about. And that was like, and at first, let me tell you, that's hard to have every single belief system you hold stripped away in a one evening, so to speak. But what arose from that in the following weeks was this fucking peace, man. Like this, hey, we don't have to figure it out. We can just move through love, and that's enough. We can just be kind to people, and that's enough. You don't.
The next day you were already different?
Bro, no. The next few days I was like processing it, man. Like it's really fucking crazy. Like subjectively, your subjective self ceases to exist, so you die. Like death occurs subjectively. Your soul or spirit or whatever is taken through a ride through interdimensional planes of existence while you're being like ripped apart, put back together, moved through shapes, geometric figures, interacting with beings that look terrifying yet godly, and you know that in some way, shape, or form they are gods of another dimensional plane, and you're continuing this ever movement path. And then by the time you come back, what I took back from the experience, it's funny, I had a friend obviously watching me, and I told him, I was like, I kind of started dancing, and I was like, you might as well just dance. And he was like, what do you mean? I'm fine. Like I'm good on the couch. I go, no. I don't mean you right now, but I just realized like, I might as well just dance. Like this life really is, in terms of the human mind, like the human mind, you'll never get it. The human mind isn't big enough to get it. But what the human mind can get is dance. It can recognize that life has rhythms, and you can flow with it, and you can dance with it. And if you do that, you're already actualizing the highest level of human intelligence possible. That's it. That's the highest wisdom, is to dance with the flows of life, to dance with God, to surrender, to get yourself out of the way. If the human intellect, the ego, like I was, is stuck on the idea that you have to have the answers if you want to be able to live, then kill yourself. Honestly, like, and I say that with obviously some joking, but like, honestly, kill yourself, because you will never get a concrete, total answer that is No, it's just not going to happen because the scale of the universe is incomprehensible to the human mind. But what isn't is the way that you can move through this life. There's what like that. It's out there. It's the shamans have
That's
figured
right.
it out. A lot of people have figured it out. Like, you know, Watts. I mean, Alan Watts is the one who used that metaphor quite poetically, which is, it's our duty to hear the music and dance. It's like our responsibility to find it. And each one of us might have a slightly different tune playing, but damn, if you learn to dance to it, life will get better.
That's really like deep.
Right?
Serious, yeah.
It's a good one.
And it's like our tune to dance is not dependent on other people.
No, dude, you just got to find your rhythm. And again, a lot of us right now, we don't even, like you said, with every
How did you
impulse
find
that
your
we-
rhythm?
Bro, how did I find my rhythm? By getting
Yeah.
out of my fucking way. Like, I was beginning to find rhythm, and then because I got some attention online, I started to lose it because then I started to think about what I was doing again. And again, it's a very Zen approach, which is like, look, the moment that you're thinking about what you're doing, you've lost it. Like, for instance, let's say if I was like, I really want to bring spontaneity into my relationship, and then you try to be spontaneous, that's not spontaneous. Spontaneous is arising spontaneous, you know. And in that respect, the way that I've kind of found my rhythm in life is by literally surrendering. Like, I don't plan 5 years in advance anymore. Sure, I've obviously sat down and like taken the intentional time to adjust my present for future events that may occur. But when I live my life, man, like I can't be worried about shit like that. Like, I gotta live presently engaged. For me, the practices that keep me sane and feeling like I have some sense of rhythm is meditation, man. Like, meditation, it's changed my life. I started meditating at 18 years old. I'm 25 now. It fundamentally changed my relationship with reality. I went from thinking exactly, I used to be the person that you described, like I was my emotions, my impulses were who I was. Like, these things were, I was a hopeless romantic. I was defined by these narratives and these ideas. And over time, meditation is the very actionable process or practice rather that teaches you, actually, you're not your thoughts. Actually, you're not these things. So for me, luckily, by having that realization that I wasn't those things, I was able to enact a lot of the practices that you teach people in a way in my own life, because, I was able to realize, wait a second, I'm not really jealous. I'm just or like that thing is arising because I'm insecure. Well, why am I insecure? And I had the awareness to have that conversation with myself and be like, well, I think it's because I'm just not doing the things that a confident person would do. Right. So in a way, fake it till you make it, but don't be fake it. Just actually do it. Be intentional about the actions. And over time, I started to like grow a lot as a person. And again, I'm not done growing. I'm still so flawed. And I got so many, I'm still working on it. I'm a constant evolving dynamic system. But in a weird way, the perspective of not having to fix myself is what has allowed me to fix myself. It's like, I just love myself now. I just actually take the time to care for this person, for this kid, allow him to do the things he wants to do. Oh, you don't want to hang out with anyone today? You want to just sit at home and meditate and write? Like, that's fine. You don't have to and by treating myself, like you said, as the ultimate authority, I've built a level of trust with myself where I now have what I feel like is my superpower, which is intuition. And I have a really, really powerful relationship with my intuition. And in my spiritual beliefs, my intuition is my divine connection to God. And when I surrender to it and I stop the monkey mind, God is acting through me and I'm acting through God, and I'm safe and I'm supported and I'm good. And I really believe that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you think, because I don't believe in right or wrong,
Yeah.
but do you think intuition is not right or wrong? It's just going a good path?
You know what I think it is? So if there's levels to this, right? In the eternal truth, there's non-duality, which means nothing is good or bad. You can take from that perspective, you can murder someone. That's not good or bad. It just is. Everything just is. And that's great. Now in the world of separation, in the in this world, right, the three-dimensional space that we live in, that's fucked, so to speak, right? Because humans impose values and judgment, and right, because that's like the false God, that's the material God within us. We impose judgment and whatever. Ironically, though, when you stop imposing what you think is the right or wrong thing on the world, and you stop that and lean into intuition and like lean into your own personal values without trying to project them onto others or the world, you just, like you said, live your truth, live your own thing. The universe doesn't give you what you want, but God will give you what you need. And in my point of view, right or wrong has nothing to do with it. It's more like God or the universe wants us all to become God, because God is all loving. Christ consciousness is all loving consciousness. What was Jesus Christ? Christ was the unenlightened being, an avatar like the Buddha, like Krishna, Jesus Christ. So the universe wants all of us to be that, because it just does. I can't explain it. So when you lean into your intuition, you will start moving towards a more loving awareness. You will be embodying Christ consciousness more. Obviously, you might not actualize it in this lifetime. Not most of us don't in a lifetime, but you will move towards a space of Christ consciousness. You'll move toward. I mean, that's the pattern I keep seeing. I'm just a guy who.
Why didn't the universe just make us loving right away?
Because I think it's part of a drama. Like there is some kind of. There's some dimensional drama. Well, that's what the Buddhists would say. Really, it's a melodrama. It's the samsara. It's the wheel of suffering. It's reincarnation. They say it's because the souls are all maturing through this process of suffering, whatever. But we as the individual technically are everything. So when again, these concepts get really fuzzy when you get to these like, there is no other, aka everything is in my mind, and I am the whole universe, and the whole universe is me. So if I really want to change the world, right, well then impart some wisdom from Mahatma Gandhi. Be the change you want to see in the world. And like, why does the rules not just make us all perfect from the start? I don't know. There's some plan. There's something else going on. But this is where you have to lean into that humility that we talked about. You don't get to know it. There's this beautiful story from the book of Job in the Bible, and it's a lot of wisdom. And in this story, Job, he's one of the first few people on earth after Adam and Eve, and he's a good Christian, so to speak. He does good, and he's given good. But Satan, Lucifer, who's an angel at this time, he's always thinking, and he goes, but God, how do you know Job is actually a good person? Because maybe he's only doing good because you keep giving him good. And God goes, that's a good point. So God introduces chaos or suffering to the world, Satan. So Satan now gets to cause suffering to Job, kills his family, causes drought, like just totally fucks this guy's life over. And Job then gets confronted by these priests and he's like, what did I do wrong? And they're like, well, you must have done something wrong, because the understanding of God at that point was that God gives good to good and bad to bad. That was like a limited understanding. And he's going back and forth with these priests going, I haven't done anything. And so finally he goes, God, like, come on, man. Like, what the fuck? At least talk to me. Show me, like, explain. So God goes, finally feeling bad for the guys. Okay. I'll explain it. So he gets Job and he takes Job through a journey through God's eyes. He gets to see everything that God sees, like the scale of the universe, other worlds, other life. And Job comes back from this experience and doesn't really get an answer to why he suffered. He's left with a little bit of confusion, but the point is, you would never understand God's wisdom. Like, the scale at which this universe is operating is beyond your little individual human life. So if you don't get an answer, the answer, you wouldn't even understand it if we gave it to you. It's just incomprehensible to the human mind. But what you can have is a little bit of grace and faith, and just try to be better for the sake of being better. Like, don't do it for heaven, do it to make heaven here, you know? But I love this story because for me, that was DMT. DMT was that journey because I'm a psychedelic, explorer and all that. And I love it, but I did it looking for an answer. I tell you, I went into I've been studying it for like 10 years. You have to have an intention. I've been super healthy, sober, meditating for years. So I went into it going with a little bit ego, right? My ego was going, I just want to know how this all works. If only you guys, whoever takes me on this journey through DMT, if you just show me, I'll understand. What's crazy is while I was taken on this experience of DMT, there was a guide that, again, this just sounds wild, but this presence, this being who had their hand on my back as I was being like my soul was skyrocketing. And they were also like holding my chin up a little bit. And the entire time that I'm, this or that, the experience is happening, there's this voice going, do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? And they were kind of making fun of me because I went into the experience going, if only I could be shown how this universe operates, I would get it and I would have my peace. I was given the experience of, here you go. Here's the totality of the universe. I didn't get it. The only thing I could get was this kind of impartial wisdom of, whoa, I'm never going to get it. But you know what I can do? And you know what I can get? I know what kindness is. I know what compassion is. I know what treating people with respect is. I know what having fun and that I can do. And that's it. That's what I like. Now I'm focusing on smaller questions and it's made my life amazing. I focus on things like, how can I be a better partner? How could I be a better brother? How could I be a better son? A better once you answer that, that's it. That's like the highest calling. You don't even really need to worry about, like you said, is my intuition moving me toward, I don't know, man. Who fucking cares? What I do know is that I feel damn good listening to my intuition. People around me feel better listening to my intuition. And if alleviating people of suffering isn't somehow the right path, well, then I don't know what the fuck is, man, because it feels pretty good to me. Like what you're doing, man. It's like some part of you knows that, like, hey, man, like those messages, something is happening with these people. You're helping. If that's not good, what the fuck is? And again, it's when we get tied up in the needing to define things that we get trapped in suffering. And that's the whole point of like these Buddhist stuff. It's like, don't worry about defining what you're doing. Just fucking do it. When you get stuck in the world of philosophy and trying to define whether the path you're on is the good path or whether that's right or wrong, that's when the drama arises. That's when the wheel of suffering starts turning. We don't suffer in the present moment when we're just being present and surrendering to intuition. Really minimal amounts of suffering.
Yeah.
I love how you just listen, bro. That's I appreciate that.
No, yeah. I feel you're sharing. I feel like I connected more to my body.
That's awesome. I mean,
yeah.
Dude, I'm so passionate about this because I really know what it's like to be on the other side. I know what it's like to and I feel so bad for my inner child, for my Niño, because I'm like, oh my God, that life was not a life. Like it was like a nightmare, like that I kind of just like floated by, and there was moments of being awake, and those are like the best memory, the times in my life of having presence. But oh my God, I feel a little sad knowing how much of the world, unfortunately, hasn't got a chance to start living, really hasn't got a chance to start writing their own stories, or like you and what you do, hasn't had a chance to start undoing their compulsions so they can actually live intentionally. And if you're not living intentionally, Star, is that not anything but a nightmare? You're living essentially something under some preordained rules, and then you don't control the narrative. Things are just happening to you. You can't run very fast, because like you're at the mercy of your impulses and all these things and these identities. That sounds like a nightmare to me, doesn't it? When you're in a nightmare, seems like you can't control how fast you run. You can't control the story. It's just all happening. You don't, right? That, unfortunately, I know what it is to feel like that's your life and thinking that that's normal. And it really isn't. It doesn't have to be anyways. It really doesn't have to be normal. We don't have to be stuck in addictive tendencies and relationships like you talk about. We don't have to be the slaves of our compulsions and attend to every single thought or emotion that arises. We don't have to be. And in my life, meditating, mindfulness, and spiritual practice, holy shit, that stuff changed my life, man. I'm like, I can't stop talking about it.
Yeah, I don't know if I do the right thing or the wrong thing, but I know that surrender feels better than not to.
There you go. That then, insofar as right or wrong can even have a word.
Yeah, I think the brain only wants to know right or wrong.
That's that right there. That's a compulsion. Right or wrong. Right or wrong. What do you mean right or wrong? We're not, just surrender.
Yeah.
Man, I think that's a good place to leave it. I always like to ask, what is your message? Like, what is your one piece of wisdom do you think is the most important thing that someone could take away from you?
Fuck everybody and do what you love.
That's brilliant.
No. I just thought it was funny. Yeah, kind of. Say that again, the question.
If you could leave people with one piece of wisdom or value that you think speaks to your message and really captures it, or is the most important thing from your message, your story, what you're pushing out there, what would it be?
I'm gonna say a few things.
Yeah,
Romantic
please.
relationships are one of the hardest things, so be kind to yourself. Know that this is not the only person. Know that this is not the only soulmate, and start making yourself your soulmate, and start, even if you don't feel like it, grow your garden and support your life, especially if you don't feel like it, especially if it feels wrong. Do the actions for a while. See it as a boot camp for like 3 months. Just say, okay, even if this sucks, I'm going to do all the actions to grow my business. If I fail, I'm going to learn skills to grow things, to grow your physical fitness, to meditate. Meditation is one of the most important things you could ever do. I meditate all the time. I've meditated for 15 years since I'm a child, since I'm young. And meditation is one of the things that will help you so much with life. And whoever doesn't meditate, you do yourself such a disadvantage. Sit down with any emotions and set a timer. Sit down with any emotions and thoughts. The brain will try to get you to get up, let it burn, and focus back on your breath or your body or just the present moment. Thoughts can come in, emotions can come in. Don't talk back. You cannot control the thoughts and emotion that come in, but you don't have to talk back. And be okay with the emotion that will help you have more emotional fitness outside. Make yourself your own authority. Think for yourself. Question everything. Use what's useful. Don't use what other people put on the pedestal. Try things out. Trust yourself the most, even if you don't trust yourself. Trust yourself moving in a direction that you think is good. And even if the brain says, oh, but we don't know, other people have already done this, but go in that direction. That's how you teach yourself trust. Visualize you already having the thing you want and being in the end. Go to sleep. Before you go to sleep, just make a scene where your parents or your dad or your brother says, I'm glad you, whatever you want, I'm glad you so happy. I'm glad you have, or I'm happy that you have the body that you want or the job that you want. But already go to the end and feel it as if it was true, just a small scene. Take care of your body and say fuck it, like surrender, like be okay with not knowing, and take out all the voices of other people who tell you you're supposed to be this old, this type of person to do this type of thing. You're supposed to have this kind of hair. You're supposed to be professional. This is what it means to be professional. You decide. Don't let other people decide. If you don't set intentions for your life, other people will set them for you. So do that. And then if I forgot something, I'm kind to myself right now. I make mistakes. I'm allowed to make mistakes. Be in the present moment. Be curious about people. And thank you, Niño, for having me. And I hope this helped some people. If not, this already helped us.
Man, I'm selfish. This shit helps me, so that's good enough. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.